What's the worst case of injustice you've seen? In high school, I had this history teacher, Mrs. Caldwell, who straight up ran her classroom like a dictatorship. She had her favorites, mainly the rich kids whose parents donated to the school. And then there was the rest of us. If your last name wasn't on a plaque somewhere, you were invisible. I was definitely in the everyone else group. She played it subtle most days, calling only on the same 5 students, laughing a little too hard at their jokes, letting their late assignments slide. But when it came to grading, she didn't even try to hide the bias. One semester, we had this huge research project that counted for 40% of our final grade. It was supposed to be a deep dive paper on any U.S. historical topic of our choice. I picked PTSD and Vietnam War veterans. I spent weeks on it, interviewed 2 vets at the local VA, read actual medical journals, and cited everything. It was the best work I'd done all year. Meanwhile, Blake Thompson, the golden boy whose dad sat on the school board, turned in 3 crumpled pages that looked like they were written the night before. No sources, no citations, just bolded titles and random facts. It looked like a middle school report, at best. Grades came back. Blake, a plus. Me, C-. Mrs. Caldwell's comment on mine, lacks academic rigor. I went up to her after class and calmly asked what part specifically needed work. She looked me dead in the eye and said, you should be grateful you passed it all. Nah, that wasn't gonna fly. Next day, I stayed after class again, but this time, I recorded our conversation. I asked why my grade was so low. She got defensive, then let it slip. I didn't read past your first page. I could tell where it was going. Boom. Caught. Then I did some digging. I googled a few phrases from Blake's paper. Not only was it sloppy, it was almost entirely plagiarized from a Wikipedia article, word for word. No edits. Just copied, pasted, and printed. So I put it all together, my paper, the plagiarism receipts, the audio clip, and went to the principal. Thought he'd at least hear me out. Nope. He smiled, nodded, then hit me with, well, these things happen. Let's all try to move forward. That night, I emailed everything to every member of the school board. And just to make sure they couldn't sweep it under the rug, I also CC'd the local newspaper. They'd run fluff pieces on the school before. I figured it was time for some real reporting. 2 days later, I got called into the principal's office. He was furious. Slammed the door, waved around a copy of the email, said I'd embarrassed the school. I didn't say much, just sat there and waited. Later that afternoon, the newspaper posted a front-page story, favoritism in grading, local student blows the whistle. It blew up. Parents started calling the school. Teachers started checking their grade books twice. By the end of the week, Mrs. Caldwell was placed on administrative leave, and the district announced an independent audit of all her grades that semester. Turns out I wasn't the only one who'd been shortchanged. 3 other students came forward with similar stories. One kid had gotten a D on a paper that was later reviewed and raised to a B+ after a proper read-through. The whole school was buzzing for weeks. Mrs. Caldwell never came back. Official word was that she retired early, but everyone knew she got pushed out. Fast forward 3 years. Graduation ceremony for my little cousin. I'm sitting in the stands, and guess who I see 2 rows down? Blake Thompson. Still cocky, still wearing a backwards cap indoors. We made eye contact. He gave me this half smile and said, long time. I said, oh, how's college? He laughed, kind of bitter, and said, dropped out after first semester. Professors didn't exactly hand out A's. I just nodded and said, yeah, that academic rigor hits different when someone actually reads your work, huh?